Welcome back to the deep dive. If you're sensing a fundamental shift in how you find things online, you're not wrong.
Not at all.
The entire digital landscape is, well, it's being reshaped by generative AI, which means the old rules for online visibility, they're basically being retired.
Exactly. The way people research, the way they compare products and ultimately decide to buy something, a lot of that is now happening inside the language model.
So the sources we're looking at today are kind of a blueprint for that new world.
They are. They show us how businesses can not just, survive, but actually thrive in this new citation-driven environment.
And we're diving into two worlds they're really interwoven. First is the practical side, how companies are strategically learning to optimize for these new AI search results, a practice called generative engine optimization, or GEO.
And the second part is the psychology of it all. We're going to explore the surprising science behind how we interact with and decide to trust these new synthesized AI voices.
Yeah, our stack today includes some pretty detailed analysis on that big shift from traditional SEO to GEO.
We've also got some strategic marketing roadmaps predicting what's going to be required by 2026, and some really fascinating new academic research that links vocal tone directly to how much you trust a voice assistant.
So the mission today is clear. We need to understand the levers we can pull to influence these new AI systems, and maybe more importantly, why the human element is becoming the biggest competitive advantage you can have.
It really is. And everything from content credibility to how a voice sounds.
Okay, so let's start with the commercial challenge. For, 2 decades, search marketing gave us a really clear, measurable view of the customer journey.
Right, and now that visibility is, it's fading. One of our sources frames it perfectly. Search is going dark.
Going dark. That's a powerful way to put it. But does that mean we lose all visibility, or is it just shifting? What's the biggest blind spot for businesses right now?
The blind spot is the research phase itself. The customer journey is fundamentally changing because the bulk of the comparison, the initial thinking, it's all handled inside the AI summary.
So you don't see the steps the AI took to get to that answer.
Exactly. You lose all that top-of-funnel visibility.
And that uncertainty has to carry huge risks, especially for, say, a big e-commerce site managing thousands of products.
Oh, absolutely. Where freshness is everything price, stock levels, recent reviews. If your product isn't cited in that AI summary, you don't even get a chance at the click.
So we need a new approach.
We do. And that is generative engine optimization, GEO. It's a necessary evolution of SEO. It's all about optimizing your website so it can be found, understood, and presented favorably inside those AI-generated answers.
What's crucial here, I think, is the shift in the goalpost. Traditional SEO is about getting a high click-through rate from a list of, 10 blue links.
You wanted top-of-funnel visibility.
Right. But GEO is totally different because the click you earn from an AI answer, it's much, much further down the funnel.
It's often the final decisive click. It comes from a user who is already educated, they're qualified, and they are ready to transact. This isn't discovery. This is conversion visibility.
The stakes are so much higher.
Much higher. You're not just testing against a competitor's ranking, you're testing against the AI's decision to cite you as the authority.
So if the stakes are that high, how does the AI actually decide who earns that recommendation? That gets us to the core mechanism, right? How these models get their information.
Right. And you can think of it in two conceptually different ways. First, there's the static, learned information from its slow-moving training data.
So the general knowledge, it's already absorbed.
Exactly. But second, there's the fresh, real-time information that gets piped in dynamically. That process is called retrieval augmented generation, or AG.
And ERG.
Yeah.
That's where we have the influence.
That's our opening. It's the highest ROI target for any GEO testing. The AI model doesn't know the current price of a stock from its old training data. It has to retrieve that fresh commercial data using RAG.
And since RAG is real time, that's the layer we can influence.
It's the only dynamic layer. So the scientific rigor of AD testing stays the same, but the intent is completely different. We're no longer testing for a click from a search result page. We're testing a hypothesis designed specifically to earn a citation from the AI.
Okay, so give us a concrete example. What does a GEO hypothesis look like on a big e-commerce site?
Okay, take a product detail page for, say, a high-end blender. Old SEO would focus on keywords in the title.
Right.
GEO testing focuses on content structure. You might hypothesize that by reformatting your product specs from a dense paragraph into a concise, scannable, key feature summary, generative engines will cite your product more often in a comparison.
Like for a query such as, which blender has the most powerful motor?
Exactly. You're making it easier for the AI to parse the key information and serve it up.
That's a huge shift. You're going from just having the right words to having the perfect structure for AI consumption. It's moving from what one source calls react mode to control mode.
You stop guessing and you start actively testing to find the structure that it rewards.
Okay, so if we connect that strategy to the bigger picture, this move from optimizing for links to optimizing for citations, that's what's driving the macro strategy for 2026, which is search everywhere optimization.
Precisely. Search everywhere optimization is the result of doing GEO successfully across all the different surfaces.
So TikTok, YouTube, Amazon, ChatGPT, Perplexity, AI overviews?
All of them.
Yeah.
Success now depends on earning that citation, not just ranking a URL.
Which brings us to Google's old quality framework, EET.
Right. Experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. It's basically become the AI's language.
That's what's so fascinating. It went from being a quality check for human raters to becoming essentially an AI confidence score.
The models are built to look for these reliability patterns, verifiable sources, factual content, a consistent digital footprint before they grant a citation.
So we can break EEAT down into two buckets, right? Internal signals and external credibility.
Let's start with the internal ones, experience and expertise.
Okay, so experience. This requires firsthand, real-world proof. The AI is looking for lived insight, not just generic marketing copy.
One of our sources suggests using first-person language where it makes sense. I tried this, or we tested this method.
And making sure the author bio clearly states the credentials of the person who actually did the test.
Which leads right into expertise. This is about demonstrating verifiable knowledge. It's not just keywords, it's credible citations and linking an author's profile directly to their qualifications, like a LinkedIn profile or other certifications.
So experience and expertise are about proving your knowledge from within your own content.
Right. Now, for the external signals, which are way harder to manipulate, that starts with authoritativeness.
And that's your brand's digital reputation earned from mentions all across the web.
All across it. The AI ecosystem is pulling from Reddit, Quora, niche forums, places far beyond traditional news sites to gauge your actual influence.
Is there a practical way to help the AI connect those dots?
Yes. Using structured data or schema markup helps you programmatically connect your author and your organization across the web. It boosts that external visibility.
And then finally, the undisputed king, trustworthiness.
This is the most critical pillar. It underpins the AI's entire mission, which is just to provide reliable answers.
So this means factual accuracy, transparency, clear privacy policies, HTTPS security.
And actively encouraging and displaying verified third-party reviews. One analysis put it simply, trust is a new keyword in AI optimization.
And the ultimate payoff for mastering all four of these pillars is what they call the authenticity premium.
Right. As AI-generated content floods the web, you get this homogenization crisis where everything sounds correct, but also identical.
So the premium comes from blending AI efficiency for the structure with real human insight for the empathy and unique perspective.
And both users and AI systems are learning to reward that blend.
That's the perfect transition point. If the content itself needs to show human authenticity through EET, what happens when the voice delivering it is entirely synthetic?
Which brings us to our third section, the intimate AI, voice, tone, and the science of trust.
We're hearing these increasingly realistic AI voices everywhere now, summarizing articles, generating audio news.
And our sources break down the tech behind it. It's not magic. It's a really complex chain of LLM queries. An outline is generated, then a detailed script, then another LLM critiques that script, and then you get the final audio synthesis.
But the real breakthroughs are in the subtle human qualities they've managed to synthesize.
Yes. The first magic ingredient is disfluencies.
I love this. You mean the ums, the ahs, the natural pauses that we usually try to edit out?
Exactly. Those tiny imperfections are what help the audio cross the uncanny valley. They make the voice sound convincingly human, and because of that, more listenable.
It turns out listening to a perfectly fluent, cadence-free robot is actually kind of jarring.
It is. I'm a little relieved to hear my own reliance on is now a sign of cutting-edge authenticity.
Right. And the second ingredient is advanced text-to-speech modeling. It introduces natural emphasis and pacing without needing a human to code it in.
That's what makes the voice feel genuine and dynamic.
So now let's get to the psychology of it. A study on voice assistants, or VAs, found this clear chain reaction.
It found that the vocal tone of the VA significantly impacts how attractive it's perceived to be. And that perceived attractiveness directly leads to how much the user trusts it.
So we trust voices we find subjectively attractive. What did they find about tone preference?
The participants were significantly more likely to find VAs with positive and neutral tones attractive compared to negative ones. And that jump in attraction led directly to greater trust in the recommendations the VA gave.
But this is where it gets subtle, because those two preferred tones, positive and neutral, they create a split in what users want, which is a real challenge for voice design.
That's a crucial point. Some participants really preferred the neutral tone. They saw the calmness, the lack of overt emotion, as a sign of unbiased recommendations. It let them focus on the facts. For them, unbiased meant trustworthy.
But another group felt the exact opposite.
Right. The counter group found the positive tone more believable and genuine. They liked the personal delivery. They said it made complex tasks, like online shopping, more enjoyable. They felt a connection.
The implication for strategy here is huge. It means thoughtful voice design, maybe with different tones for different contexts, is key.
Absolutely. Maybe a neutral tone for financial news, but a positive one for travel recommendations. It's crucial for getting people to adopt VAs for more complex, high-stakes tasks.
Okay, let's unpack this whole deep dive. What really stands out to me is that whether you're optimizing a website for an AI citation or designing an AI voice, success now hinges on credibility and connection.
It does. Businesses have to move from react mode to control mode by systematically testing their influence on RAG with GEO. And they have to satisfy the AI's need for trust with EET.
But the factual content is only half the battle.
Just as important is the emotional delivery, whether that's through human storytelling or a very carefully calibrated synthetic voice.
This shift it's profound. To succeed in the AI age, you can't just be fast and efficient. You have to be trustworthy and engaging.
You have to earn the AI citation and the user's belief. We've seen that experience and expertise prove your internal authority.
While trustworthiness and authoritativeness prove your external credibility.
And you need all four for the AI to consider you citation worthy.
So we'll leave you with this final thought. You now know that authenticity is the key to AI visibility through EAT, and that vocal tone drives perceived trust. When you're creating your own content, how do you make sure the authenticity you build into your brand isn't lost when it's delivered by a synthetic voice? Especially when we know many users actually prefer a factual, unbiased, neutral tone over what emotional one is the most trustworthy voice in the end, the one that sounds the least like a salesperson.